Hello, everybody. It's the Professor, Teaserking. We're going to talk Week 7 of college football. I've been looking at this. I've got two locks going this week. I actually got two different college games with one pro game. So there's three teams and two locks, and then I'm playing them and other teasers. So when you find the lock, that's how you bet it in teaser world. And then you got to remember that the line is not in teaser world. So in the line, they're trying to keep it under 14 or 7.5. Teaser world, we don't care. We want give me 8.5. I go down to 2.5, or give me 3.5 or 4.5. I go up to 10.5. I love these 5-point spreads. I get 11. Yeah, I know a lot of these people miss extra points, but it's just ridiculous. Anyway, so let's walk through injuries. First, let's talk injuries. So the Army quarterback's listed as questionable with the shoulder. If he's out, even though Wisconsin's 39.5, I still think that's an under, because Army, good defense, they won't score. Wisconsin can't score. Boston College, their quarterback's out for the year. UCF, their quarterback is out for the year or for many weeks. Texas A&M's quarterback got injured. He's questionable. He's already the backup. TCU, I see Duggan is questionable there. Again, I don't know. And again, it's early in the week, so you don't know. LSU, my favorite receiver, Boutte, is out. I can't believe it. It just says personal out. It doesn't really get into, was it a knee? Was it this or that? So now LSU has lost their quarterback. I mean, they have the backup, but he stinks. And now Boutte's out and Stingley's out, the best cornerback. So are they bailing because they're losing, or are they actually out because they're out? But keep your eye. Boutte should be the first receiver. He's as good as Jason Jefferson, if not better. Utah State, their quarterback is questionable, which is unfortunate. They're playing UNLV, and I really like them, but we got to see about the quarterback. And here's where you run into, how's the backup, which you have no idea, and then the backup lights it up, and you're like, oh, okay. So you don't know if the backup's real strong. Let's see what else. San Jose State, their quarterback's out, Snarkle. That's why they've been struggling lately. The last 4 or 5 weeks, they got the backup quarterback out there. So that definitely makes a big problem and makes a lot of risk, because you don't know the backup. In this case, San Jose State's backup quarterback's not good. Army's backup quarterback doesn't look good. Another one, Indiana. Penix has a hurt shoulder, is questionable. I don't know. He'll probably play. Now, here's where you don't know, but you keep an eye on the line. Michigan State is -4.5, and I like Michigan State in this game, especially if Penix is out. And you'll see if the line drops to 3, Penix will be playing. If the line goes to 6, Penix is out. If the line goes to 6, you jump on Michigan State. If it goes to 3, I still like Michigan State. I don't think Penix is looking that good anyway. Let's go through the slate and see live dogs. I think the Syracuse Clemson game, Clemson -14. Syracuse is actually a live dog there, getting 20 points from a team with no offense. Let's see what else. Pitt, that's an interesting game. Pitt, Virginia Tech. Pickett's really good this year. He sucked the last couple of years, but this year he's really strong. They've been averaging 50 points a game. So I don't know that Virginia Tech, who's a very good team, is a live dog there or not. It's hard to go against them. And Pitt I have as an A team, so they got a pretty good defense. I think they lost to Western Michigan, though, so I don't know what's going on with them. If Army's quarterback plays Anderson, then they are a live dog, because they'll give Wisconsin all they want. Let's see. Virginia 11 over Duke. I'd say Duke's a live dog. Duke scores a lot. Virginia has no defense. This should be an over game. The over is 69. It's a bit high for an over, but both these defenses stink. So and they're both good offenses. So you could get that. Rutgers quarterback is questionable. They're laying 2 to Northwestern. I don't know what to do with that game. Boise 4.5 over Air Force. There's a live dog. Air Force 10.5. Air Force is the better team getting points. It's not a big deal to play Boise on the blue turf anymore. So, they're a very live dog. Air Force. I don't know what's going on in Utah, Arizona State game. The line keeps Utah will be favored by 1. Arizona State's favored by 1. Because the game's at Utah, I guess if you get Utah as a home dog, that's probably a good play. They both lost to BYU, but they're both good teams. They both, I think they both beat USC. USC is a psychotic team too. They light up Washington State, and they get killed by Oregon State, and they get killed by Arizona State. Utah kills them. I don't know, but I saw there's a lot of injuries on USC. Washington 2.5 over UCLA. Live dog UCLA very easily could win this game. You get 8.5 with them. Very strong play. A&M Missouri. This is an interesting one. Missouri actually has no defense, a good offense. Missouri, the spread's 8.5, and the quarterback's injured on A&M. Now, how flat is A&M going to be after beating Alabama? You got to go to Missouri. I'd say that's a live dog, Missouri, in 14.5, especially with the A&M quarterback injured. So I just think that that's definitely a live dog there. My screen looks a little dark. I don't know. Let me know if it's too dark for you guys. My light's on. Let's try that. Maybe that'll help. If you ever have any questions, like you can't hear the light, just let me just put a comment in. Oklahoma State, Texas. Absolutely a live dog, Oklahoma State. Texas laying 5.5 off the big game with Oklahoma. But let's look at Oklahoma State. Very strong defensively. They're actually an under team, but they switched quarterbacks back to Scott Sanders, who's very good. He was injured last year. But you got this team beat Baylor 24-14. You hold Baylor to 14. Texas is going to be flat here after the Oklahoma game, and Oklahoma State is very strong. When you get a strong defensive team, that's where you get the win. So that game, I definitely like Oak State getting 11.5 from Texas. Oklahoma, TCU, like I said, Duggan, the quarterback for TCU, is questionable. Now, if he does play, TCU is a very strong dog here against Oklahoma. Again, they'll be a little flat, but TCU is very strong. Sorry about that. TCU is a very strong team. They're coming on. So if their quarterback plays, then definitely 19 points in TCU is a lot. Especially the way they've been looking lately. Georgia 23.5 over Kentucky. I don't know. Kentucky's an awfully good team. I mean, they just beat Florida and they just killed LSU. Over under 45, 44.5. Georgia minus 23.5. I don't know. You don't make a living betting against the best team like an Alabama or Georgia, but man, Kentucky in 30 points. I think they beat half the pro teams getting 30 points. This Kentucky team's for real. I don't know. I like the game under actually because it's Georgia, and if you looked at Arkansas, they killed them. I just think that Georgia's defense is too much, and I think Kentucky's defense is very strong. So even though Kentucky's probably a live dog here, you can't mess around with Georgia. I think that's a definitely underplay. Florida LSU. Normally LSU and 16.5 is a home dog on Saturday night. You got to be kidding. But now Boute's out. So I wonder if the coach lost the team because LSU is now okay. Thanks for telling me, Flipper. So LSU getting 16.5. Normally a great play at home, but with Boute out and the quarterback really, this Johnson, he plays like his dad. His dad wasn't very good. Too many turnovers. Florida, I don't love LSU as a home dog with Boute out, but I don't know what's this coach with LSU. I think he lost the team. Mississippi, Tennessee. Now there's a live dog. Tennessee getting 9.5. Can you believe the over-under on this is 81? Holy shit. 81 points in a Mississippi Tennessee. Now Tennessee's an explosive team, but they got a decent defense. Mississippi, you can see. So if Tennessee runs the ball at all, or if Mississippi runs the ball at all, it'll never get 81. Even a teaser 75, you got to score. You need a team to score in the 50s and the other in the 40s, which you might get. I mean, with these two teams, you could get it, but that's where I'm like, oh, that number is way too high. So I like the I don't know. I would have to play Tennessee in 9.5. So I think they're a live dog there. Arkansas, Auburn. Arkansas laying 3.5. Auburn's fairly live. They played well at Penn State. Arkansas is very good. I mean, this game's pretty even. You could take the dog. Stanford, two over Washington State. Now, at Washington State, I think they're a live dog. I was watching the highlights of the game last week against Oregon State. It took them a while, but they warmed up in that second half and gave Oregon State all they wanted, who's, to me, a better team than Stanford. As long as they're at home and they're getting over a touchdown, Washington State's fairly live. Those are the live dogs I can see. I'm interested. Now, the game last night, I was shocked. Appalachian State's a really good team. Louisiana Lafayette, I loved. I hit them last year 10 times. Love their quarterback, Levi Lewis. But they just they haven't been playing that great this year. App State was 4.5. I didn't play the game. I couldn't over under. Who knows? And Louisiana Lafayette just blows them out, 41-13. Not often an A team gets blown out like that. So keep your eye on Louisiana Lafayette. They'll give them a lot of confidence. I know their quarterback's good, so it's just a matter of there they go. Memphis 10.5 over Navy. Memphis has been acting really weird. They blew the lead to UTSA last week. They lost somebody weak, so I don't know what's going on. Okay. So Memphis should handle them. Navy's getting a little bit better, but I don't know. But Memphis is a tad off this year. Clemson, Syracuse, 45.5. Clemson's laying 14. I don't see how Syracuse is a good team. I don't see how they beat them by 14, better less 20. I like the under in the game because Clemson's like Georgia. Only Georgia has an offense. Clemson doesn't. Their quarterback's terrible. Surprised the coach hasn't switched quarterbacks yet. He's probably paying him too much, but this quarterback on Clemson is very disappointing. So you're not getting a lot of offense in the game. So I like, again, under 50. If this was 39, I can't play it, but 45 to go under 51 is definitely a play. So that's how I play that. So look at the teams. Clemson, they score like 15 and give up like 15. So you can see they're an under team, right? That strong defense. They don't score a lot. It's a perfect under team. Nobody's going to score on them because of their talent level. So that's what you watch there. So you look at the game in all aspects. Do I take as a team better than the other? How's the spread look? And then, oh, wait, this is a really strong under team or a really strong over team, and I'm going to go that way on it. San Diego State 9 over San Jose State. These are the Friday games. So Clemson's Friday. San Diego State -9. Again, the San Jose State quarterback's out. They've been playing low-scoring games. San Diego State's great defense. Brady Hoke, he used to coach there, went to Michigan, and he couldn't beat high school teams, and now he's at San Diego State, and they look pretty good. So maybe he just can't handle the pressure of the Big Ten or the better teams. But here they should beat San Jose State, only laying 9. You lay 3. Hopefully you get under 3. But again, if it goes over 3, don't play it. But I do like it at under 3. Oregon, Cal, I really don't have anything. I think that spread's too high. Oregon should win the game. Cal, they just don't. They're not scoring. I think Oregon wins this one. North Carolina 7 over Miami. I really like North Carolina here. I don't see any injuries to North Carolina. Miami, the quarter King's out. He's not even injured. He's out. Their defense sucks. They've been playing terrible ball. North Carolina's been playing bad ball, but they're at home. We can lay them -1. I mean, that's just way too. I think that spread's way too low. Now, North Carolina doesn't have a great defense, but Miami's not going to take advantage of it. Miami's defense isn't that good. North Carolina can score. Howell, if this kid's drafted in the first round, there's a bunch of idiots drafting, which we already know. But here, North Carolina -1 at home against Miami. I like that play. Pitt, I talked about 4.5. With Virginia Tech. Pitt's an 18. They score 50 a game. They have good defense. VTech is a pretty good defensive team. They're pretty much under, but they played Notre Dame 32-29. So there was scoring. So I feel Pitt will score because, again, Notre Dame is more of a passing team, which is what Pitt is. Pitt's more of a passing team, but they got a very good quarterback, Pickett. Over under 57. I think that's the way to play this game. I don't like Pitt. VT played Notre Dame tough. They can play Pitt tough. But when you get to the over-under of 57, I go over 51. I mean, that's 30-24. It's 54. It's a winner. Pitt's going to score 30. I mean, if Notre Dame puts up 32 on you, Virginia Tech's defense isn't that good. And I don't know how good Pitt's is. I mean, I think Virginia Tech can score on them. Definitely see this game in the 60s easily, and you go down to 51. Here's where you play the spread, right? Before you look at it, you don't really have a feel over or under. But when you make that spread 57, and now I only have to go over 51, that's what I like. So I think that's where the spread dictates. Now I'm going to play it. Like here's Texas Tech, Kansas, the over under 67. Well, that's too high. Texas Tech is not scoring like they used to. Kansas stinks. But basically, without an offense, you can't really go over 67 unless Texas Tech scores 60, and then you might as well play Texas Tech -10. So I don't know here. Let's see. What do I got? Hi, Todd. Good morning. I like Kansas State +13 at home versus Iowa State. Your thoughts on that, sir? Yeah, I don't. Iowa State, very good defense, but they're missing the running back Montgomery, who was starting on the Bears, who got hurt. Brock Purdy, I've always kind of liked, but he's never been like the superstar quarterback. So he's always, okay. But in the big game, like against Iowa, no good. Kansas State at home, I believe. Yeah, absolutely. +13 is. They could easily win the game. They played Oklahoma tough at home. So really Iowa State is a good defensive team. They don't score much. Kansas State will find a way, and they're pretty good. They're a good team. They're not great. But as a home dog, absolutely I like them. That's good. Michigan State 4.5 over Indiana. Definitely like Michigan State. Penix is out. Even if you played, I like Michigan State. Michigan State's way underrated. They should be a 10-point favorite here, easy. They've got the balanced offense, good running back, a good quarterback. Their defense is solid. Indiana hasn't done anything. They showed a little defense against Penn State, holding them to 24, losing 24-0. And I see that kind of score with Michigan State here. Over under 48 without Penix. Without the quarterback, the team I've heard stories like The reason, like, if you're playing defense and you have Tom Brady, you play better. If you have a weak, you got Colt McCoy, you're not playing very well, right? So if the quarterback's good, you're going to play defense better because if I give the offense back the ball, we're going to win. He's going to score a touchdown. He's Tom Brady. If you got a bad quarterback, the defense kind of lets up. It's like, we don't have a chance, so they kind of give up. I mean, just subconsciously. So Indiana, without Penix, they don't have a chance. They know it. He's been struggling. Even if he plays, he's got a bad shoulder. Let's say he plays. He hasn't been effective all year anyway. And Michigan State, to me, is as good as Penn State. Seriously. They just blew out everybody they played. Let's take a look at Western Kentucky. They beat Western Kentucky like 70-20 or something. They put up a big number on them. So they held Western Kentucky. You can throw the ball a hell of a lot better than Indiana. Like 14, 20 points. I forget the final, but they blew them out by 40 points. And that was at home. But I see a similar thing here where Michigan State's going to win this game. You only got to lay 4.5. Penix or no Penix, I don't see a problem. But he's got a hurt shoulder. I don't know that they're going to – does the game mean anything to Indiana now? They've lost so many games. They're out of the running. I don't know. So I like definitely Michigan State. This spread's way too low. Wisconsin Army, we talked about again. Anderson plays. Go to covers.com. Look at the line. If you see the line drop, now here's where we don't have all the information. Is it going to hit covers.com? I don't know. They show injuries, but maybe today, but on Saturday, we don't know if the guy's playing or not. All we can see is the line. If the line goes to 11 or 11.5, he's playing, you bet Army. If the line stays at 13.5, goes to 14 or 14.5, he's not playing, then play the under because Army won't move the ball. In Wisconsin, they got a high school offense and a terrible quarterback who turns it over. Army's defense is very good, so don't misplay Army. They're a very strong defensive team. So they will hold Wisconsin in check. But you get their quarterback, you bet Army. If he doesn't play, then it's an under. Tulsa, 8.5 over South Florida. Tulsa's defense is weak, but they played Ohio State very strong. South Florida's a Z. They don't have a lot of offense. Their defense sucks. I did watch the South Florida BYU game to see how BYU didn't blow them out. BYU kind of was in a dream state the second half. They had a 20-point lead, and South Florida backdoored it. They have a quarterback who runs a little bit, and he's a pretty good passer, pretty elusive. But Tulsa played Ohio State, and he's not better than their quarterback. And you got to only lay 2.5 here. I'd like Tulsa here, only laying 2.5 to a weak South Florida team. I mean, if anything, Tulsa will go up and down the field on them. Will the kid from South Florida, the quarterback, score? Yeah, he'll score some, but you only got to win by 2.5. And Tulsa, you can go to Ohio State and play them tough. You're gonna play South Florida tough. I mean, you're gonna beat South Florida. So you can go into Ohio State. You're not gonna have a problem going into South Florida. Nebraska, 3.5 over Minnesota. I like Nebraska here. I think they're a much better team than their record shows. They blew out Northwestern. That was a strong play a couple of weeks ago by me. They played Michigan State to overtime. They played Michigan. Should have been overtime. And they scored a lot on Michigan. So that Martinez has this thing. They're rolling now. This game shouldn't be close. The line I don't get, 3.5 over Minnesota, who lost to Bowling Green. Minnesota, their running back. The problem is they lost their running back, Ibrahim. First game or second game. That's what's hurting them. Now Tanner Morgan's okay, but without the running, they're not balanced. They're not doing anything. They're an under team, but Nebraska's an A team. Even though they lose to Oklahoma and they lose to Michigan close, they're losing close games to really good teams. I see Nebraska's defense coming up big. If you want to play it under 48, so you go under 54. But I like Nebraska getting 2.5, getting anything in this game, I think is very strong. I once heard one of my friends said, well, you don't go over 0 in a teaser. And I go, why not? well, you're not supposed to go from -3 to +3. And I go, why not? Because I know the spread, right? So if the spread should be 7 and it's only 3, and now I'm getting 3, I should be laying 1 or even, and I'm getting 3. There's no rule, and I've never heard of it, and I've never followed it to go from -3 to +3. If I get +3, I'm getting a field goal. My tie's ties, so therefore I have no problem with it. Cincinnati laying 20 to UCF. I love this game. Cincinnati is very strong. They won't be flat. They're at home. Very strong defense, very strong offense, great quarterback, well coached. Ohio State playing UCF, who normally I like, but they don't have the quarterback. He's out. Gabriel is out. He broke his collarbone. He's not going to show up and play. Their backups, So here you got Cincinnati, who's going to just pile it on because they want to make the playoffs. So now you have the playoff. There's no reason for them to be flat against UCF. So this lane 20, I think, is a joke. So you cut it to 14. That I think you're looking at 45 to nothing, maybe 45 to 3. Cincinnati's got a great deal. I mean, if you watch the Notre Dame game, well, it's not like UCF's going to scare us with their backup quarterback. If Gabriel was the quarterback, I still would like Cincy, but you'd be laying 10, not 20. And I'd still would love Cincinnati, but I love them here laying 14. Let's see. Colorado 6.5 over Arizona. How the hell is Colorado favored over anybody? Arizona showed some signs last week. Over under 47. Arizona's a Z. They're nothing. Terrible defense. Colorado's an under. They scored 10, give up 10. Great defense. I think this game's an under. 47, you go under 53. I don't see how you can do. Derek Miller, I disagree. I really see Wisconsin blowing away Army, but friendly orange juice drink. Well, I mean, if the quarterback Anderson plays for Army is what I'm saying. He is very good. He gets long runs. I know you're saying Wisconsin can stop the run, but it's still it's all up to the quarterback. So if the quarterback is playing, I'm saying you got Army in 20. That's a good bet. Wisconsin doesn't score anyway, and Army's got a very good defense. If he doesn't play, then I'm saying I don't trust Wisconsin's offense against Army's defense to score. I think it's an under. Wisconsin doesn't blow away teams. They got the terrible quarterback who has like 2 touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Army's got a strong defense, so you're not looking at that, and you're looking at the number. So it's all up to Army's quarterback. If he doesn't play, bet the game under. Just look at Wisconsin's history. They don't blow out even MAC teams. They blow out to them like Illinois, 24-0. Army's defense is better than Illinois'. Army's offense is better than Illinois'. They're better coached. I don't know. I mean, if you're looking for a 24-0 game, maybe, again, if Army's quarterback plays, Army will score. Anyway, where was I? So Colorado, Arizona, it's just Colorado, strong defense, not a good offense. So they can't really take advantage of Arizona being a weak defensive team. I just don't see a lot of points in the game because of Colorado's defense and basically their lack of offense. So, I don't love the game. It's just a comment here. Boise 4.5 over Air Force. Now there I like Air Force in 10.5. Air Force, strong team. Just beat Wyoming, who's a strong team. Boise beat BYU, which I said Boise was a good dog last week. They're laying 4.5. You get Air Force in 10.5. They run that little wishbone, but they can throw the ball. So some things you haven't seen. Boise isn't Boise. They're good. They're not great. So I like Air Force as a live dog here. UCLA, Washington. I said UCLA is a very live dog. I'm not really sure why Washington's favored, right? They're laying 2.5. They don't really score a lot. They played Oregon State tough, but only because they got that fluke picks. They stripped the quarterback and scored an easy touchdown. Otherwise, Oregon had them beat by a good 10. UCLA, I mean, they're a fabulous offensive team. Washington, So Washington, let's say they get 24, which is about all they're going to get here. UCLA is easily going to get 21. Washington's defense isn't that strong, and UCLA's got a very strong offense, good quarterback, good coach. So I look at UCLA in a must-win game. 8.5. That's a very strong play. Liberty, 32 over Louisiana Monroe. Definitely like Liberty here. I mean, they're explosive. They're an A team. Louisiana Monroe lost to, I think, South Alabama or some crap team by 30 points last week. Louisiana Monroe is terrible. Liberty will show off a little, laying 32 down to 26, so keep it under 28. Not a problem for Liberty. I don't see an injury there, so they'll blow them out. Baylor BYU, interesting game. But BYU's quarterback was hurt. He's questionable. Romney. Baylor -6 at home. I look for Baylor to win the game. Over under a 50. I think that's also an over bet. 44. BYU scores. I mean, they're a decent team, but Baylor's explosive. Their quarterback, I think his name's I can't think of it. He's like 12 touchdowns and no interceptions this year. So you get quality from their quarterback. So I just don't see I don't see a problem here for Baylor. BYU's okay, but Baylor at home with that offense, all you got to do is win the game. I don't look at this game even. I look at Baylor as a better team here. Texas 5.5, Oak State. I already talked about that. I like Oak State and 11.5. Too much defense for Oak State. They beat Baylor, Texas, little flat from Oklahoma. Their defense sucks, and I mean, they can't hold the lead. So, I respect Texas. I think they're strong, but this is a very good defensive team Oak State has. So, look for a low-scoring, close game. Alabama. Let's talk Alabama. Alabama laying 17 to Mississippi State, over under 57. Mississippi State, Mike Leach, they throw the ball all over the place. Look for Alabama to get blitzes and run the ball like they did against Ole Miss. So this is basically against Ole Miss. What did they do to Ole Miss? They just ran it down their throats, scored a lot. So what are they going to do here? Run it down their throats and score a lot. I don't think Mississippi State, they don't have that killer defense that A&M has. A&M has a very good defense. No, it's not Georgia's defense. Alabama's going to be in for a nightmare against Georgia. But Alabama here laying 11 off of a loss. Yeah. Mississippi State doesn't have the defense to really do anything. The passing, so Alabama will blitz them all the time. They didn't have a problem with Ole Miss, and I don't see them losing 2 in a row, which means they'll score their 40. They win 40-20. Again, you're laying 11. It's just you want to take Mississippi State in 23, be my guess. Maybe over 51. Alabama scores 40. You're going to get 10 from Mississippi State. So if you think Mississippi State hangs in there, go over 51. If you think Alabama after loss is going to be pissed off and run it down their throats and blow them out, then lay the 11. I think both of them are good. I got the over circled and I got Alabama circled, so I'll just decide. I'll check for injuries one more time, but I don't see any injuries there. Western Kentucky 12 over Old Dominion. We're going to have an intermission. I got to take a phone call at 4:00, but I don't know how long it'll be. So maybe I'll stop and come back. Western Kentucky 12 over Old Dominion. Western Kentucky, very strong offenses. We know they throw for 500, 600 yards a game. Old Dominion. I mean, they're not like a Liberty where, I don't know the team, but they're really like Liberty. Who knows them? But they're good. Or they're not a Coastal Carolina with Grayson McCall, who's an A team. This is an E team I got. So they score 25, give up 25. I think Western Kentucky blows them out here. Laying 12, you lay 6, you lay less than a touchdown. It doesn't matter. Old Dominion, I think's North Carolina or somewhere around there, maybe West Virginia, something on the East Coast. So I definitely like Western Kentucky. Here's where you got to be careful. They're explosive, right? But against Michigan State, the defense could hold them. But here, Old Dominion doesn't have the defense to shut them out, and Western Kentucky's just going to light it up. Georgia, Kentucky, I talked about it again. Georgia laying 23.5 is a big number. Over under 45. Just go under with Georgia 51. Their average is 5 points a game, and they played good teams. Kentucky's a very good team, but they have a very strong defense. So the only thing that really happened is Kentucky might hold Georgia down a little bit. Auburn couldn't do it. So it's 34-10 against Auburn. I think you see maybe 28-10 here. Just Georgia, Kentucky's not going to score a lot. Nobody does. And Georgia, Kentucky might hold them down a little bit more. So definitely just play Georgia under. Don't think about it. Florida 10 over LSU we talked about. I like Florida in the 4.5. Boute's out. I don't like Johnson, their quarterback. Way too many turnovers. Florida minus, again, it's in the swamp it's in Tiger Stadium at LSU. I don't know if it's a Saturday night or not. It looks like it's down in the schedule. It is. Just be careful with that one. But I think Florida wins this game without Butte. Johnson's got no chance. Minnesota, Tennessee, or Mississippi, Tennessee, we talked about 3.5. I'll do 2 more, and then I'll check back in. So we talked about that. I like Tennessee getting the 9.5. UTSA over Rice. UTSA's minus 18.5. Rice is terrible. They're a Z team. No offense, no defense. Their quarterback's not even playing green. They got the backup quarterback. UTSA put up 100 points last week on Western Kentucky. So you're laying 18.5 down to 12.5 against Rice all day, UTSA. And then Utah State, 7 over Vegas. Watch the quarterback. If he plays on Utah State, again, they're running the Arkansas State, so they're scoring a lot. I think his name's Bonner. If he plays, then definitely Utah State blows out Vegas. And the last game, Hawaii, Nevada. Nevada's laying 14, which I think is a low number against Hawaii. Over under a 60. I like Nevada laying 8. Over 54, probably. Nevada scores a lot of points. Fairly good defense. Hawaii scores. So you can probably get over 54. These Mountain West games tend to go over a lot. And that's the schedule. So I got to take a call. I'm going to end this stream, but I might stay on depending. I don't know how long this call is. But anyway, thank you very much. If you have any comments or questions, please leave them and I'll get back to them. Okay. Thank you very much. www.teaserking.com. Sign up. 2 big locks this week, other big games. And I will be back. I don't know. It might be 10, 15 minutes, but I'll let you know.